In this video, I will show you how to create a WCF service with CRUD operations. We will create a customer service. As part of this customer service, we'll create operations, create operation, read operation, update operation, and delete operation. We are going to use the following tools and technologies: Visual Studio 2017, WCF for service creation, NT framework to interact with database, SQL Server to store data, WCF test client to test the created WCF service. This customer service we are going to implement in 7 steps. In step 1, we'll create a WCF application project. In step 2, we'll create entities from database. As we have discussed, we are using NT framework to interact with the database. NT framework offers multiple approaches to create entities. It can be code first approach or database first approach. For this video, we are going with the database first approach. So, as part of this second step, we'll create entities from existing database. Step 3, we'll create customer service. That means we'll add a customer service to WCF application project. Next, we'll add C to customer service. That means we'll add create operation to customer service. Next, we'll add R to customer service. That means we'll add read operation to customer service. Next, we'll add update operation to customer service. Next, we'll add D operation to customer service. That means delete operation to customer service. Before we proceed with our actual steps, like the video, share the video, and subscribe to channel. Customer service step 1. Create a WCF application project. Let's create a WCF application project. In Visual Studio 2017, go to File menu, select New Project. Then you have to select WCF application. Let's give the name as Customer Service Demo. Press OK. Once the project is created, you can see the project contents inside this Solution Explorer. By default, you can see Service 1 is created for us. But as part of this video, we are not going to touch this service. Now, let's go to step 2. Customer service step 2. Create entities from database. NT framework database first approach. In this step, we'll create entities from existing database. For this demo, I have already created a database by name Customer DB. In this database, we have a table by name Customer. So from this database, we'll create entities. Let us see how to do that. Here in this customer demo project, you have to add one item to it. Add one item. Here you have to select data and then select ADO.NET Entity Data Model. Let us give the model name as Customer Model. Add. Next, you will get different options here, but let's go with NT Framework Designer from database. Here we have to give database connection details. As you can see, data source is Microsoft SQL Server, and here you have to select server name. Let us select the server name, which is admin_PC. In my case, it is admin_PC. In your case, whatever may be the server name you have to give proper or corresponding server name. And next, I am using Windows authentication. If you prefer to use SQL Server authentication, you can do so. And after that, we have to select a database. In our case, we have a customer DB, right? Let us select customer DB as the database. And next, if you want to test whether database connection is proper or not, you can click this test connection button and see. Our connection test is succeeded. Now let us click OK. Next, click next button. Again, we can click next button. Now it gives us the option to select for what entities we want to generate mappings. So in our case, in the database, we have only one table. That is the reason under tables, we can see only customer. If we have multiple tables, here you will see corresponding list. So let us select tables and then click finish. It takes some time to generate entities. Now we can see that entities are added to our project. So this is the customer entity. You can see it has three properties: ID, name, and description. So all these are corresponding to table columns. Here in the Solution Explorer, you have to mainly focus on this name, because this type will be used in our code to access database entities. Next, you can see a customer as well. So this is also automatically generated by Entity Framework. Customer service step 3. Create customer service. Let's add customer service to our project. Right click, add new item, and then Visual C# you can select. Here you need to select WCF service. Let us select this. Let's give the name as customer service. Now you can see that a customer service has been added to the project. You can see customer service.svc and iCustomer service. If you open iCustomer service, you can see the default method that is available as part of service contract, which is do work. Customer service step 4. Add C to customer service. Let's add create operation to customer service. For that, let's delete this do work operation and let's go with add customer operation. Let's define a customer contract. This is a data contract. And let's go with the three properties. ID, name, and then let's go with a description. Let's give the attributes data member, so data contract is ready, and let's give this data contract as input in operation contract. We have added a new operation which is add customer, which takes customer contract as input in the service contract interface. So now let's go to implementation and implement this method. We can delete this do work, or because we don't have this one in service contract, and then we can implement service contract. So we have the method definition here, add customer. By default it throws exception. Let us delete this. Now we want to add a customer to database. For that purpose, first we have to use customer DB entities type. New customer DB entities, and then in DB entities you will have customers dot, you have to use add method, add. So this add takes customer as parameter. So what we can do is that we can pass new customer, and here we can initialize values from contract. So from contract we can go with the name, and a description again from customer contract dot description. And we have one more field which is ID. Let's go with ID as maybe here we can assign ID value based on number of records present in customer database. For now, let's go like that. So I am taking the customer database records count by using this entities.customers.count, and I want to increase by 1. So this customer count plus 1 will be set as ID value. Count is a method, right? Okay, now we have added a new customer to DB entities.customers. After that we have to call DB entities dot save changes. That's it. We have implemented add customer operation. Now let's run the service and test it using WCF test client. Now you can see that WCF test client is getting ready. Right here we can see that customer service is there. Under that we have add customer. Then let us select add customer. So we have to double click on add customer. We can see that it takes 3 parameters: description, ID and name. As we have not used ID in the operation, we can keep it to 0, or we can leave it as it is. And then let us give some description. And name, let's give the name as ABC customer. And then invoke. So invoke got succeeded. That means we have successfully invoked add customer operation, right? Now let's go to database and see whether we are able to insert new customer into database or not. Let us see the records of customer table. We can see one new customer here. So this way we are able to add a new customer using add customer operation. Customer service step 5. Add R2 customer service. Now let's add R operations to contract. We can add 2 operations. One is to get list of customers. Another one is to get a customer by ID. Sorry, we have to just give definition, not definition, declaration. This is interface, right? We cannot give definition. We have to just declare operations. And next one is get customer, which takes customer ID as input parameter. Now let's go to service definition and implement these methods. Let's implement get customer. Matched customer equals to, from DB entities you have to identify matching customer. DB entities dot customers dot first or default, where customers ID equals to customer ID. This selected code returns a matched customer. If there is no match found, the default value, which is null, will be set to matched customer variable. Now what we have to do is, if matched customer not equals to null, then we have to convert this matched customer into customer contract, because this customer type is different and customer contract type is different. Before we return, we have to convert. We need to construct customer contract object and assign values from this matched customer and return that object. So let's do that. Maybe we can do this way. Return new customer contract, and here you can initialize values from matched customer. First, ID equals to matched customer dot ID. Next, name equals to matched customer dot name. Next, description equals to matched customer dot description. So if the matched customer is not equals to null, we have to return customer contract, else we can return null value. In case of get customers, what we have to do is we have to get the customers and convert them into customer contract list and return. Let us see how to do that. Return db entities dot customers dot select here. You will say customer contract, new customer contract, and give values or initialize properties. We can initialize properties using C. ID equals to C dot ID, name equals to C dot name, comma, description equals to C dot description. So still we are getting some error. Why? Because the return type is list, but this select gives ike variable of customer contract. So to solve this one, what we have to do is that at the end we have to add to list. Now there is no error. So now we have implemented two methods: get customer, which takes input as customer ID and returns corresponding customer, and another operation is get customers, which gives all the customers available in customer table. Let's execute the service and test. Now we can see that in iCustomer service, that means in customer service contract, we have three methods: add customer, get customers, and get customer. So first let us test get customers. Double click on get customers and you can simply click on invoke. As we can see here, there is already one record in customer table, right? Because of that reason, we can see that we got one item in the result. We can see that corresponding item values as well. If you click here, you can see first record values. Whatever present in the database, the same can be seen here. Now let's add one more customer. Let's keep some description and let's give the customer name as XYZ and invoke. So we have added one more customer by name XYZ. Now let's go to get customers and then invoke again. Now you can see that the length is the list length is 2. We got 2 items in the response. One is ABC customer, next one is XYZ customer. That means our get customers is working fine. Now let's test get customer. Double click on get customer. Here we can see that it is expecting one input parameter, which is customer ID. Let's give the value as 1. So as I have given value 1, I am expecting first customer details. Let us see whether it will give the same or not. Yeah, it gives the same, right? We can see that we got first customer details, and let's give 2 as value and then invoke. Now we can see second customer values. Now let's go with some ID which is not present in the database, which is 3. And if you invoke, we can see that it returns null. So that means the get customers and get customer, both methods are working fine. Customer service step 6, add U to customer service. Now let's add update customer. Update customer takes customer contract as input. We need to give operation contract. Now we need to go to service definition and implement this method. Okay, let us delete this code. Next, first we need to access entities. That's why we have to create DB entities instance, and using this DB entities we have to identify existing customer from database. Where existing customer equals to DB entities dot customers dot where lambda c dot id equals to customer contract dot id dot first or default. Next we have to check whether existing customer or matched customer is identified or not. If existing customer not equals to null, then what we have to do is we have to change the values of this existing customer. Existing customer ID we should not change. We have to change name equals to customer contract dot name, description equals to customer contract dot description, and then DB entities dot save changes. Okay, if we find any matching element, then only we have to update. Okay, otherwise we are not doing anything here. But in real-time applications, based on your business requirements, sometimes you may have to throw exception which says that there is no employee with a given ID or something like that. It depends on your business requirements. But for this demo, we are not going to handle all those scenarios. We are going to simply check whether the matched customer is identified or not. If existing customer is identified with that ID, then only we'll update the record values. Now let's execute it and see whether it is working fine or not. First, let us execute get customers and see what records are present in database. We will see the first one. ID is 1, description, test description, name is ABC customer, right? Now let us update this customer and let us change the name from ABC customer to ABC. So update customer and description. If you change description also, it will change that. And then mainly you have to specify the ID which is 1. Next, name ABC and let's invoke it. So it is successful. We are successfully able to update customer with ID 1. Now let's execute get customers and see whether the first record got updated or not. As we can see here, before it was ABC customer, now it is ABC. Why? Because we have updated, and the description was also something else, but now we have updated that description to DSCR1. So we have successfully implemented update customer operation. Customer service step 7, add D2 customer service. Now let's add delete operation to customer service. Takes customer ID as input, operation contract, in service definition, let's implement delete customer. Okay, we have delete customer. So what we have to do is, first, as usual, we have to take, or we have to create instance of DB entities, and then using this DB entities instance, we have to identify matching customer using customer ID. So that we can do using DB entities dot customers dot where, or we can go with the first or default ID equals to customer ID. Now we have to check if the match customer is null or not. Why? Because if the customer ID is not present in the database, then match customer will be null. So we need to check for null. So if match customer not equals to null, so if it is not equals to null, what we have to do is we have to remove matched customer from customers entities. That we can do using db entities dot customers dot remove, and then here we have to pass match customer. So after removing, again we have to call db entities dot save changes. Right? So with this we have completed delete customer as well. Now let's execute the service. So now we have to test delete customer. So for that, first let us see how many customers we have by executing this get customers. Now we could see that there are two entries in the database, customer ID 1, customer ID 2. So let's delete customer with ID 2. Now here pass the value as 2 and then invoke. Yes, we are able to successfully delete the customer with ID 2. Now let's execute get customers and see how many customers we have. Now we can see that there is only one customer, which is first customer, right? So this way we can implement delete customer also. Okay, now I could see there is one correction needed in our implementations. As part of add customer, if we see, we are taking the ID as db customers dot count plus 1. So this can create problem for us. Why? Because now if we see our scenario, till now we have played with 2 records. But what happens if I have inserted 2 records and then I have removed the first record? That means there is one record in the database with ID 2. Next time, whenever I try to add a new customer, if we go with this logic, for that new customer also, it will try to use the ID value as db customers count, which is 1 plus 1, which is 2. So again, it tries to insert a new customer with ID 2. Then it will throw exception. Database will throw exception. Why? Because the ID field is a primary key field, right? So because of that reason, we need to change the logic here. So what we can do is that maybe we can take customers dot, let us stop it. We can take customers dot last dot ID plus 1. So this way always we'll take last customer ID and then add 1 to it and set that one as new customers ID. So if we implement like this, we will not face any problem. But in real time, generally for ID fields, either we go with auto generated fields or based on the requirements, maybe we go with some custom logic to generate ID field value. With this, we have completed all CRUD operations. We are able to implement all CRUD operations in customer service. Like the video, share the video and subscribe to channel. Thank you.